The purpose of this program was to help my school's IB dance teacher. He told me that his students especially struggle when practicing going from a standing position to lying down on their sides. So, this program analyzes photos and videos of students attempting such a movement, finds their mistakes, and offers feedback. When planning the development of this program, I established 8 criteria for success, and the first of which was my program's ability to accept both photos and videos, which we see I fully met. As well, the name of a student is required, under which the results for the file uploaded will be stored. All the inputs on this page are properly handled for errors, so invalid file paths or invalid student names are accounted for. If all information is correct, we see the file is successfully analyzed. From this, it is also clear that I partially met my second CFS, which was allowing my client to rewatch the file that they input, annotated with key point information. If I upload a photo, we see that it unfortunately is not played back to the user, however videos are, which is far more important. We can also see that I met my third CFS, which related to my program's ability to accurately analyze a student's movement. My program has not found any mistakes in the video I just played, no notification was displayed to the user, and the text file was not updated. However, if I send it a different video, this one designed to show a student reaching for the floor before first crouching, we see that when the error occurs, a message generated by ChatGPT is output to the user. This says when transitioning from standing to lying on their side, the student must remember to first crouch down, etc. Encourage them to focus on the sequence of movements to ensure a graceful transition. Other errors a student could make, like putting their elbow down at the wrong time, are checked for and properly handled. However, there are ways to cause false results in my program. If the student is too close or too far from the camera, for example, their key point information may be improperly interpreted. My fourth criteria for success related to my software's ability to accept multiple uploads for each student, and I met this criterion. We have seen that I can submit many photos and many videos for each student, and these are tracked in the SQL database. We can also see a fifth criteria of success of mine here. This is my program's reliability, or in other words, its ability to produce functionally identical results when given the same file at different points in time. Here we see a very similar message from ChatGPT, and the text file is updated in the exact same way as before. During the development process, I was unable to test the aspect of this criteria for success, which regarded results for different students with similar key point data being consistent. So I cannot say that this criterion was fully met, although my analysis functions are based solely on key point data, so there's no reason for my software to be incorrect in this way. My sixth CFS was giving my client the ability to store the program's results to a text file, and I fully met this criterion. In fact, I developed data storage methods for my program that went beyond what I originally intended. We see here that a text file is used for longer strings, and an SQL database is used to contain all the student names as well as how many videos and photos have been uploaded for them. To interact with the SQL database, my user goes to the Edit Students page, chooses a student name to add, and inputs the admin PIN. Again, improper names such as non-alphabetical names are checked for here. My seventh criteria for success, which related to the interpretability of my program's results, was also met. I implemented the ChatGPT large language model, as we've seen, into my software in order to create natural language outputs for the user without having to hard code them. Also, the data stored to the text file is clearly organized and readable, organized by student headers. My final, more overarching criteria for success was developing a product that is easy to use, and I said I have fully met this criterion. In order to properly interact with my program, all my user must do is add a student, put their name here, and then input a valid file path. While programming my software, I prioritized maintaining extensible code so that I or other developers could understand and add to it later on. I included inline comments where necessary that describe what portions of my code do. Here, with my error checker message methods, we see that these inline comments describe the specific error that these are checking for, as this key point data can be difficult to sight read. I also made sure to keep my code as modular as possible, mainly through the use of OOP. I have an error checker class, an error writer class to encapsulate similar messages, and all my GUI screens are encapsulated in easy to read classes. Lastly, I named all variables and data structures logically. We see in my error writer class, there is a variable like target, which is what the method is searching for in the text file where it will slice, length, which is the length of target, index, which is where the target is found, etc. Looking forward to possible future developments, there are many well within reason. Firstly, I would add to my use of multi-threading. Currently, it helps the packages work in tandem as well as allowing my user to interact with the GUI while a video is being replayed. However, attempting to analyze two videos simultaneously can cause an error in my program, so I would like to lock certain threads to prevent this. If I had more time, I would also add to my database implementation. Currently, there's no handling of duplicate student names, and my program will accept them and update them in the same ways. I could easily fix this by checking for repeat names when my client attempts to add a student, and in the case that there is a duplicate, require my client to adjust the name slightly. Lastly, I would rework the way my program receives a file from the user. Currently, it awaits a file path and uses various conditionals to prevent possible errors. However, it would be simpler for my client and more effective in general for the software to allow my client to pick a file from their computer in a pop-up window, which could easily be added using the file dialog module, which can be imported from tkinter.